Howdy folks, and welcome to this brand new episode of the Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight, Rochester's premier music and interview show. Right here, right now, is our second holiday special, and we're so glad that you are here celebrating it with us, and we're just so humbled that we could put this together. This is a charity event for Temple Brith Kodesh's Temple Project, or Tempro for short. It's an amazing charity that can help homeless families continue with their lives in a truly meaningful and impactful way. So first, let's give a round of applause for all the musicians who are donating their time tonight. Let's give a round of applause for those guys. That's really important in today's day and age, you know, when it's increasingly harder and harder to make money as a musician. That's really important. We have a special guest here tonight, Jerry Zakalik. He's the president of Tempro, so let's please give him a round of applause. He's in back over there. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry. So in addition to your donations tonight, Tempro uses both state and federal funding to help over 150 families a year. And not only do they put them in housing, they make sure they get the care and the items that they need to continue on with their lives. So they help in just such an amazing way, especially for families. You know, because sometimes, you know, when you go into a homeless shelter, you're broken up by your age or gender, and you're not always kept together as a family. So Tempro does what it can to keep the families together, and that's really an amazing thing. Next up, please give a round of applause for Bop Shop Records. The words Rochester Gem are tossed around quite a lot, but I don't think that there is any place in town that better encapsulates what that means. Tom Cohn has been presenting concerts both here and at his old place in Village Gate for 30 years. And it's not just presenting music, he is hosting the musicians, he's giving them dinner, he's finding them a place to stay, and he's treating the audience to an amazing listening experience. So we're happy to be part of that. Let's give Tom 30 years for presenting live concerts. That's an amazing thing. And another thank you to the whole Bop Shop team. Forgive me for a moment. I'm going to be reading my notes just to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Jan, thank you, Jan, for the holiday lights. Appreciate it. Dan, Brian, Liz, Kim, Eric, Carl, Ethan, Matt, Katie, Allison, and special thanks to Eve, who couldn't be here tonight, but is making that awesome poster, as you can all see back there, and you've seen it around town. It's a pretty cool thing, for making this a place that is welcoming for musicians, customers, audience, and our friends and family here tonight. Next, let's give a round of applause for Jazz 90.1. Let's give it up for them. Rochester's community jazz station. Thank you to Rob and Derek and the whole 90.1 team for taking a chance on me right out of school. They're continued support of me, and most importantly, for putting up with me. That's probably the most important one right there. And for giving a spotlight, a place to be rebroadcast on 90.1. This will be rebroadcast on 90.1 as well. Finally, one more round of applause for Rochester's Jazz Ambassador Bob Sneider and the Merry Gentlemen. Before we chat with Bob, let's hear from the other great people and businesses who make the show possible. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for everyone mentioned here. Josh Pettinger and crew at Wicked Squid Studios on Smith Street in Rochester have the expertise, experience, and the facility to handle all of your band's needs with an emphasis on community experience and fun. Drop them a line today to schedule your next recording session or to become a member of their studio today. This episode is brought to you by Bop Shop Records, Bernunzio Uptown Music, SoundSource, and Three Heads Brewing. Our home again this season is the warm, creative space of Bop Shop Records. At 1460 Monroe Avenue, Bop Shop Records is celebrating 30 years of presenting live creative music and is the best place in the 585 for jazz, blues, and classic rock in a curated vinyl selection. Bernunzio Uptown Music, located in Rochester's East End, has been providing Rochester and the world with quality vintage, new, and used string instruments since 1976. Bernunzio's also offers concerts, workshops, and jam sessions. They are now also a registered Stetson hat dealer. Find your sound in a Stetson. Trusted by musicians, recording engineers, and consumers, SoundSource is the place to go for audio gear, repair, consignment needs, and to have all your questions answered by knowledgeable and friendly staff. Visit them at 161 Norris Drive today. Good people, great beer, amazing music. Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue is quickly becoming a Rochester and regional favorite for unique brews and one-of-a-kind music. Concerts are Thursday through Saturday, with the Rochester residency kicking each week off, but the beer and good times are on tap every day of the week. Rob, my friend, thanks for being here, man.
Great to be here, my friend Dan.
So, we know you're from Boston, so why don't you tell us about your musical experiences growing up there?
Well, started playing piano when I was about 5 years old, and then when I was about 6. I was in a music store where we would buy our sheet music, and I saw guitars, and I saw posters of Led Zeppelin, The Who, the Rolling Stones, and I told my mom that that's what I want to do.
How'd you take that?
She said, "You'll still play piano, right?" And yeah, so that's. But I found a great teacher at the age of about 6.5, and I studied with him all the way through until I went to college. His name was Chet Crewley. He was incredible. He traveled all over with the Fletcher Henderson Big Band back in the late 1930s and early 40s, back when he was just a teenager. So he
had some chops.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
He had some. Tell us about, I mean, obviously you're not doing a Led Zeppelin Christmas concert for us tonight. So tell us about some of the jazz guitar influences on you.
Well, my earliest jazz guitar influences remain my main jazz guitar influences: Wes Montgomery, Barney Kessel, Jim Hall, Kenny Burrell, Grant Green, the classics.
I was going to say, nice shout out for Grant Green. There aren't enough Grant
Did
Green.
I say Jim Hall yet?
You did.
I'll say it again. Jim Hall. Yeah.
There we go. And we all know you as this great guitar player who can adapt to any circumstance. So tell us some of the things from those guitarists that you incorporated into your own playing. Can you say?
I'd say Barney Kessel, the way that he orchestrates on the guitar and his deep sense of swing. And, I find sometimes in the world of guitar, there's maybe not enough personality that gets injected into the music. And all those guitar players that I mentioned, they have personality that they put into it. And nowadays, it seems like, and I don't want to sound like, I'm finding fault with the way some guitar players play, but I think the more the emphasis is on facility, speed, and not enough on just the beauty of the instrument, and also, really having as much personality as Mike Kalpa blows into a trumpet. So,
if we can all have as much personality as Mike Kalpa blows into a trumpet, I think we'd all be in great shape. So talk about your move to Rochester. Everyone knows you as this incredible fixture in the jazz Rochester scene, but how'd you get here, man?
Well, I followed my brother, and he went to University of Rochester in Eastman, and then so I came here, and I wanted to be at U of R and Eastman, and back then Eastman did not have an undergraduate jazz major, and so I was a political science major, but I spent pretty much all of my waking moments at the Eastman School of Music, and my mom was safely 420 miles away, so she couldn't figure out how many hours I was spending at 26 Gibbs, playing with people and ensembles, playing sessions, gigs, and it was an amazing time. And then after graduating, I had the opportunity to take an audition with a very famous Rochesterian and a huge name in the world of music, the great Chuck Mangione. So I took an audition expecting to just kind of move on to law school and be miserable. and so I took the audition with him, and about a half an hour later, after he took a couple phone calls, I figured something must have been up because the drummer that was there didn't stick around, and then I was told to stick around, and then he had, and I found out that the call he was on was with George Steinbrenner, and at that point I'm like, don't tell him you're a Red Sox fan, don't do it. And so at that point he offered me the gig, so I was like, yeah.
Amazing. And when did you start teaching at the Eastman Community Music School? Because that you do incredible work there. You've had so many awesome students come through, putting on so many great community concerts. How'd you start there?
That actually started back like a little bit before I actually started teaching at Eastman as well. It was I started doing some summer teaching for them, and it kind of dovetailed with when my touring days kind of came to an end, and then right at that time, they said to me after the summer session, "Would you be interested in doing more regular work here?" you would need to audition to get the job here. And I said, okay. So I waited by the phone for 2.5 months, and then they called me and they said, yeah, we're ready to do this now. We want you to come in and we want you to teach a student that you've never met, and we have to assess his skills and come up with a 40-minute lesson plan in front of our esteemed classical guitar professor, Nick Galusis, and
So no pressure.
And the dean of the school, and our director of jazz studies at the time, Fred Sturm. And so a couple days after that, they offered me the job, and I'm still here 22 years later.
Let's give Bob a round of applause for sticking here in Rochester. That's an awesome thing. You are known in the jazz community through the work you do, the education and all the gigs, but you're known really to the public as being Rochester's Jazz Ambassador because of your hosting gig at now the CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival. Mark Icona is in the audience, so I had to make sure I got that one correct there. So tell us about when you first got the call and then what it's meant to you being the host of the jam sessions.
Oh, it's been incredible. And we actually didn't get asked to do it until I think Mike Melito's here, right? Yeah, he didn't leave.
Mike Melito should be here.
Yes, Mike Melito's looking for Blue Note Records. Yeah, but we were helping out John Nugent doing some promotional activities, and I think we just finished doing someplace we played in Pittsford, or I can't remember what it was, and then so Nuge said, this festival needs a jam session. He said, I just, I don't know how this is going to go. It's my first year. I'm risking my life savings on this. But he said, I'm not doing a festival without a jam session. So that's how that came about. And he said, you guys want to do, I think at that time it was a 5-night festival. So we did the 5 nights, and we were, it was such an incredible time because the most exciting thing for me, besides playing, having George Benson tap me on the shoulder and want to grab my guitar and play, that was pretty cool. But the most exciting thing was hearing the reports of, we've seen, in the 1980s, we saw Rochester jazz as being kind of like, a continuous rolling of tumbleweeds and through downtown. And the most exciting thing, not to belabor the point, was hearing all the reports that this venue is full, that venue is full, this venue is full, the theater was sold out. It was just warmed my heart to hear that. And anybody that's been a working professional in this area and a teacher to see that and to hear of it and to see it for your own eyes in the various venues, it's amazing, and that's why the festival is still going strong. So it's because
of people like you, Bob. That's why.
And Mark and John.
Exactly. Let's now talk about the music you'll be playing for us. Christmas on the Rocks, featuring that great-looking dog hanging out by an iced margarita over there. It is also a great record full of Christmas and holiday music. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yes. My brother, John, who's a trumpet player and occasionally a whistler, and he's also a jingle writer. And one of my online learners, sometimes people like to call it Skype, but I don't use Skype. I use a different program for it, for online lessons. And he's a music producer, and they said, look, there's not enough really great jazz holiday music. There's a lot of records out there, but we need snappy arrangements. You never know. People might like it. They might want to have it placed in a movie, maybe something top grossing with J-Lo or whomever. Yeah. We haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah, I'd pay to see that.
All along, I was thinking, I want to do a great record. So typical Sneider brothers, we had a fight about it, and I got my great record. Yeah. So that's how it came about. And we recorded 13 tracks in about 7 hours. So.
Wow, that's pretty brisk.
Yeah, there was occasional bathroom breaks and tiny bits of food here and there.
Exactly. Why don't you tell us who's playing with you tonight?
Tonight, I have an amazing cast of characters. I mentioned Mike Melito in the back. And on the drums, we have Danny Zeman on the bass. Danny plays on the record.
That's right. And Danny is a Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight alumnus, by the way. He was back all the way on in Season 4. That was over a year ago now, man. Can you believe it? So long ago.
Yes.
Anyway.
Now, we have some amazing pianists here tonight, and one of them is actually going to play some melodica. So on pianos, we have Peoples. The first one of those Peoples is Sterling Koza, and then we also have Max Berlin. We have my neighbor. Mike literally lives right across the street from me. Sometimes it's not safe to go out. Mike Kalp is on trumpet and flugelhorn. And the world premiere of Grant Lee will be playing some bebop on a recorder.
That's good. If any of you are here for soundcheck, it's amazing. It is truly a sight to behold.
Grant is also a phenomenal bass player, so maybe just maybe we'll kick Danny off of the bass.
I was going to say the only reason Danny's here is because he can't play the recorder. He made that joke earlier, guys. You weren't here, but I promise. I deserve that. Anyway, we're all also, in addition to listening to great music and getting together and enjoying the holiday season, all is one. We're also here for a great cause. Tom and I have been working with you for 2 or 3 months now trying to put this thing together, and we were coming up with charity ideas, and one of the first ones you said, and it was the one we ended up going with, was Tempro. So what about, let's give a round of applause for Tempro again. They do amazing work. So why did you want to do a charity for Tempro?
Well, because I know Jerry's a Catholic, and I've heard about Tempro at Temple Brith Kodesh, and everything I heard about it and read about it, it made a lot of sense to me, because I know there's a lot of times we've brought food items in, or toiletry or hygiene items, anything that people might need in a house. Hairbrushes, I don't need a hairbrush, so I just gladly that's kind of funny when you buy one like me and then you're just sending it into the temple to donate, but those are important things. And they also have a brand new vehicle which they use for transporting people, and it's not just about providing a place for the homeless people to be. It's to uplift their spirit and to uplift their will to really do something more with their lives, and having support and a place to be means everything. So it made sense as a charity to want to get more notoriety for here in Rochester, and then also to support in our small way.
Exactly. And all of your donations tonight are going to help Tempro. So thank you all for being a part of this and helping this great organization out. We really appreciate it. Let's give Bob a round of applause. He got through most of the questions. Right now, we have a segment we call the Lightning Round. Those who've seen the show before know it's coming. These are 3 big picture questions, but even though it's called the Lightning Round, please feel free to take your time and answer, pontificate, do whatever you have to do.
Phone a friend.
We haven't done that before, but I mean, if you want. Okay, if you could accomplish one thing in music and be happy, what would it be?
I'm doing it.
Love it. Yeah, let's give a round of applause for Bob doing it. Yeah, that's awesome. Love it. What makes Rochester such a great place for both for music of all genres to thrive?
Well, I think the great thing about Rochester, the connection with the Eastman School of Music, I'm not just saying it because they signed my checks, but it really is an incredible arts community. There's incredible music not just happening at Eastman. There's stuff happening at Hochstein. There's stuff happening at Nazareth College. So there's stuff at RIT. There's things happening at the University of Rochester. I think we have an incredible population of people that crave the arts, and they crave interesting entertainment. They don't crave cookie cutter types of entertainment. They want to support things that are worth supporting, things that are artistically engaging, whether it's jazz or singer-songwriter music, whatever it happens to be.
I was going to say, and I can attest, in addition to all of the great work that happens at universities and all the students that come out of there, our independent music scene is doing incredibly well. I mean, I've done 60 episodes of the show, and I haven't scratched the surface yet. So we have one more for you. If you have any advice for aspiring artists, what would it be?
Well, as someone who, when I was in college, I don't think I really totally believed in my dream of playing music and someday teaching music. Believe in your dream, because probably if I had not gotten the gig with Chuck Mangione, I probably may not have followed my dream. So that really meant everything. It was like the catalyst that pushed me forward.
Beautiful. Bob, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm Dan Gross, and thank you for being here to support a great cause. We'll get to the round of applause in a minute. We're almost there. And you at home for watching this episode of the Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Bop Shop Records, Tempro, and Bob Sneider and the Merry Gentlemen. Josh Pettinger and crew at Wicked Squid Studios on Smith Street in Rochester have the expertise, experience, and the facility to handle all of your band's needs with an emphasis on community experience and fun. Drop them a line today to schedule your next recording session or to become a member of their studio today. This episode is brought to you by Bop Shop Records, Bernunzio Uptown Music, SoundSource, and Three Heads Brewing. Our home again this season is the warm, creative space of Bop Shop Records. At 1460 Monroe Avenue, Bop Shop Records is celebrating 30 years of presenting live creative music and is the best place in the 585 for jazz, blues, and classic rock in a curated vinyl selection. Bernunzio Uptown Music, located in Rochester's East End, has been providing Rochester and the world with quality vintage, new, and used string instruments since 1976. Bernunzio's also offers concerts, workshops, and jam sessions. They are now also a registered Stetson hat dealer. Find your sound in a Stetson. Trusted by musicians, recording engineers, and consumers, SoundSource is the place to go for audio gear, repair, consignment needs, and to have all your questions answered by knowledgeable and friendly staff. Visit them at 161 Norris Drive today. Good people, great beer, amazing music. Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue is quickly becoming a Rochester and regional favorite for unique brews and one-of-a-kind music. Concerts are Thursday through Saturday, with the Rochester residency kicking each week off, but the beer and good times are on tap every day of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Sneider and the Merry Gentlemen.
That was Winter Wonderland. Walking in a Winter Wonderland with an empty head. Yes. We're going to continue on with another tune on the recording. This one was arranged by my brother John, and this is a very traditional Christmas carol, and it's his take on God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Hence the title of the band, I think.
And I did forget one important shout out. There's a really cool cat right here who's helping us out with live sound. Can we give it up for David Clapp over there? Very quick anecdote. This is a really cool thing because we were in here recording a Bop Shop show, and then just like this kid came up to me and asked me about like what interface I was using. I'm like, okay, I guess I can answer that. And it's just been really cool to have him here doing awesome things with us. He's actually studying drums at a SUNY purchase right now, so he's here for the holidays helping us out. Give it up for David Clapp for making it sound.
Yeah, Dave. We're also going to feature Max Berlin on the melodica. So that is a keyboard. Thanks, Max. Have a good night. we're going to move on. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do my arrangement of the great song that oftentimes you hear it at New Year's Eve. And then you also hear it in one of my favorite holiday movies, It's a Wonderful Life. And it's the iconic song that people sing all over the world. It's called Auld Lang Syne. And this is, I kind of gave it a little bit of a mashup with a little bit of Vince Guaraldi style chords. So hopefully you like Auld Lang Syne. And David, could you help grab me my classical guitar? Wardrobe change. All right, now the moment that you're all waiting for. Grant Lee, did you leave? Oh, he's still here. On the record, I had some ideas to do something really fun, which, I mean, jazz is fun too. It's very fun. Okay. And I had an idea on the record to have my brother whistle, and I would play the ukulele. And we wouldn't even need a tour bus. It would become so popular. We could do the whole tour in like a Cooper Mini if I had one. And so we did a couple of tracks on the record. At first he thought I was kind of crazy about doing something like that, and then we tried it in the studio with just one song, and then they said we have to do more songs like this. So we wound up doing 2. So the first one that we're going to do is going to feature my new brother, Grant Lee, because we've replaced the whistler. He's in New York City, but I became very familiar with Grant. He's a wonderful bass player. He's a first-year student here at the Eastman School of Music, and I've had the privilege of having him in my class. And then I caught wind of something he did. Maybe it was like at Stromboli's. I saw this video on the web of him playing bebop on a recorder, and I said, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a pleasure to have Grant on the recorder, and I'm sure he's thrilled not to lug a bass out on a cold Rochester night. So we're gonna start out with our version of White Christmas, and it's just imagine what White Christmas could be, but in Hawaii. So it's not very white. So enjoy. It's once again Grant Lee. Dig this. I think I could totally get used to just taking that to gigs. I think my chiropractor could probably say that might fix a few things. Anyways, we're going to continue on with more merriment, haha, and we're gonna do kind of an up-tempo 3/4 waltz version of "We Three Kings." You may think of maybe like John Coltrane, McCoy Tyner on My Favorite Things. That was kind of my inspiration for this arrangement. Give me yeah. Danny says it's his favorite key because he can play an open low E. It's
Kings.
Oh, Kings. Oh, that's right. Yeah. There you go. All right. So we are. Let me switch over to the electric guitar and get off of the microphone. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Josh Pettinger and crew at Wicked Squid Studios on Smith Street in Rochester have the expertise, experience, and the facility to handle all of your band's needs with an emphasis on community experience and fun. Drop them a line today to schedule your next recording session or to become a member of their studio today. This episode is brought to you by Bop Shop Records, Bernunzio Uptown Music, SoundSource, and Three Heads Brewing. Our home again this season is the warm, creative space of Bop Shop Records. At 1460 Monroe Avenue, Bop Shop Records is celebrating 30 years of presenting live creative music and is the best place in the 585 for jazz, blues, and classic rock in a curated vinyl selection. Bernunzio Uptown Music, located in Rochester's East End, has been providing Rochester and the world with quality vintage, new, and used string instruments since 1976. Bernunzio's also offers concerts, workshops, and jam sessions. They are now also a registered Stetson hat dealer. Find your sound in a Stetson. Trusted by musicians, recording engineers, and consumers, SoundSource is the place to go for audio gear, repair, consignment needs, and to have all your questions answered by knowledgeable and friendly staff. Visit them at 161 Norris Drive today. Good people, great beer, amazing music. Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue is quickly becoming a Rochester and regional favorite for unique brews and one-of-a-kind music. Concerts are Thursday through Saturday, with the Rochester residency kicking each week off, but the beer and good times are on tap every day of the week.
How about a hand for Mike Melito on that one? Ooh. Wow. All right, so we're going to continue with another song, which is a very, very, very popular song. These are all very popular songs. That's like the best part about doing a holiday record, is that like there's something for everybody. So we're going to do a song that's also on the Charlie Brown Christmas record. I should say that I played last night at the Rock Holiday Village with Danny and Mike. And it was amazing. It was so cool. There were little kids hanging out, singing along, and this is one of the songs we did. And so hopefully you enjoy my arrangement of O Tannenbaum. And Grant is going to come back. As Tom prompted me to do before, the record is for sale. It's really cute. The dog on the cover is not my dog. It is, his name is Otis. He has a website. It's called OtisTheMaleModel.com. Otis appears in Tommy Hilfiger print ads, but you don't need to know that. And he's also on a Hulu show called Difficult People. Sounds like the music business. Just kidding. 1, 2, 3, 4. about a hand again for Grant? Unbelievable. All right. Is it getting late? Are we okay? Are you guys okay? Really? Oh my gosh. We're gonna do a couple more for you, and if we don't get them all in, there's always the record to buy. Yes, we're gonna do my arrangement of Silent Night. Silent Night. Yeah, Mike. Come on, Mikey. Yeah. When I conceived of the arrangement to this one, I instantly thought of country western, because that's not who I am. But yeah, so I was rap. You wrote rap on my chart. I don't know if that was. No, I don't think it was rap. Yeah, that's the one after this. Yeah, so I wanted to do like kind of like a little bit of a mashup of the feel of like Tennessee Waltz and Silent Night. It was a marriage made in arrangement. All right, we're going to do just a couple more for you, if you can hang in there. If you can hang in there. There's some good ones coming. Seriously. If I can find them. Oh, yeah. Another another arrangement that I did is a little bit of a mashup. I decided to take like a calypso groove like you might hear from the great Sonny Rollins. And this one I set to Deck the Halls, so go figure. They have to have holidays down in the islands too, so this is our version of Deck the Halls. All right, we're going to do one more shorty for you. I can't thank everybody enough for coming out tonight. Tom, Jan, everybody at the Bop Shop, Dan Gross. I have to say, playing with these guys tonight, it means the world that they're donating their time, so a greater cause can happen. So we're very thrilled to be able to support Tempro's efforts to help Rochester's homeless population. So once again, on behalf of all of us, we're gonna close it on out with another track from the record done a little bit differently. And I'm gonna hand the mic over to Dan because I'm gonna have another costume change. so we can do Jingle Bells Aloha.
All right, one more time for Bob Sneider and the Merry Gentlemen, everybody. It was so much fun. Thank you all so much for being here and enjoying great music and just taking this all in during the holiday season. And speaking of that great cause Bob was talking about, you all tonight have raised $400 for Tempro. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's a great organization. It means so much to us that you do that. A couple quick things I wanted to mention. I mean, Bob talked about what an amazing community Rochester is. Rochester is second in the nation in musicians per capita, only behind Nashville. And then to that end, we're also consistently ranked in the top 5 in charitable donations. So the fact that Rochester has those two things together is an amazing thing, and thank you all for being a microcosm of that. I appreciate it. Give yourselves a round of applause. And I'm gonna be quiet now because I'm sure y'all want to get home. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Sneider and the Merry Gentlemen.
We're going to take a break and do volume. No, we're not doing volume 2. We're going to close it out with Jingle Bells Aloha. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Once again, Grant Lee, Max Berlin, Mike Kalpa, Sterling Koza, Danny Zeman, Mike Melito, Dan Gross, Tom Cohn, Jan Miffler, Bop Shop, Tempro. Have a great holiday season. If you haven't picked up the CD, operators are standing by.